Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati uttamashloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Durlabhamanasho deho Dehinam shana bhangurai Tatrapi durlabham manye Vaikuntha priyadarshinaha Gurve gaurachandraya Radhikaya tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 4. We read till text 19. Thank you, Vipul Prabhu, Nandini Mataji, Sudhir Prabhu, for coordinating the last few days. Couldn't join because of my work, travels. So, this chapter is entitled The Atrocities of King Kamsa. And just to give a brief recap until this point, Kamsa took the 8th child, which was exchanged, and the daughter basically, Yogamaya, which Vasudeva Maharaj had brought from Gokula after changing the babies, swapping the babies. And finally, Kamsa, Devaki really pled a lot. Please don't kill this child. At least have some mercy. At least she's a daughter. At least so many ways she tried, but Kamsa had no mercy. He was very, very merciless. And then tried to kill. As soon as he was about to bang the child on the stone, or a hard rock, and suddenly she kind of slipped, and we all discussed that, the Yogamaya. She's told that your Kala has already taken birth somewhere else. So then Kamsa again had a change of heart. So we see that so many times this Kamsa is having a change of heart from good to bad, or so-called good, like he was earlier carrying or driving the chariot of the newlywed Vasudeva and Devaki, then about to kill them, right? Then suddenly he had a change of heart. Then he started killing the children. Now again he has a change of heart. So multiple times. And now he's speaking very, very fine words and blaming the destiny, right? Oh, maybe this was this time. So I was just, while I was reading this, I was feeling that it's so easy to blame destiny for one's own shortcomings, for one's own lack of endeavor or attention, or lack of, it could be different things, but one could easily blame destiny, that maybe it was this time. Maybe not, but did we do our part? So honest people are humble and they see what they can do better. But people who are not honest and humble, they don't reflect within. They don't see any faults within. So here, Kamsa is basically blaming the destiny. I have forsaken all my relatives, killed a Brahmana, the person. I do not know which planet, which hell I will go to. So many verses he said. Your children suffered their own misfortune. Wow, he's saying this. So please do not lament for them, because living souls, or everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Some people come together and then they are gone, right? So like that, he's giving philosophy. Now we will continue from the next verse where we stopped last time, and that is text number 20. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yatha nevam vido bhedo yata atma viparyayah deha yoga viyoga ucha samsritena nivartate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One who does not understand the constitutional position of the body and the soul, Atma, becomes too attached to the bodily concept of life. Consequently, because of the attachment to the body and its byproducts, he feels affection by union with and separation from his family, society, and nation. As long as this continues, one continues his material life. Otherwise, one is liberated. Purport: as confirmed in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Savaipam samparo dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahetukiya pratihata yayatmasu prasidati. The word dharma means engagement. One who is engaged in the service of the Lord, yator bhaktir adhokshaje, without impediment and without cessation, is understood to be situated in his original spiritual status. When one is promoted to this status, one is always happy in the transcendental bliss. Otherwise, as long as one is in the bodily concept of life, one must suffer material conditions. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanudarshanam. The body is subject to its own principles of birth, old age, disease, and death. But one who is situated in spiritual life, yator bhaktir adhokshaje, has no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease. One may argue that we may see a person who is spiritually engaged 24 hours a day, but is still suffering from disease. In fact, however, he is neither suffering nor diseased. Otherwise, he could not be engaged 24 hours a day in spiritual activities. The example may be given in this connection that sometimes dirty foam or garbage is seen floating on the water of the Ganges. This is called Niradharma, a function of water. But one who goes to the Ganges does not mind the foam and the dirty things floating in the water. With his hand, he pushes away such nasty things, bathes in the Ganges, and gains the beneficial results. Therefore, one who is situated in the spiritual status of life is unaffected by the foam and the garbage or any superficial dirty things. This is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami. Ihayasya hare dasya karmana manasagira nikhilashva piyavasthastu jivan mukta sauchyate. A person acting in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, and words is a liberated person, even within the material world. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.187. Therefore, one is forbidden to regard the Guru as an ordinary person. Guru Shu Nara Matir Naraki Saha. The spiritual master or the Acharya is always situated in the spiritual status of life. Birth, death, old age, and disease do not affect him. according to the Hari Bhakti Vilas, therefore, after the disappearance of the Acharya, his body is never burned to ashes, for it is a spiritual body. The spiritual body is always unaffected by material conditions. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So thank you so much again for joining. We are reading Canto 10, Chapter 4, text number 20. So Kamsa Maharaj is speaking very, very fine words. If we for a moment forget that who is speaking this verse, we can never, it certainly appears a very great devotee, a great spiritualist is speaking this verse, right? Because the point here is very, very deep, that one who does not understand the constitutional position of the body and the soul becomes too attached to the bodily concept of life. And that's so true, because majority of the population considers themselves as the body, right? And the byproducts, children, home, family, I, me, mine, aham, mameti. This is very, very deep rooted. So attachment to the body and its byproducts. And therefore, one is happy or so-called happy in their union and depressed in the separation, right? But a spiritualist is basically equipoised. That does not mean that they don't have emotions, but the point is dhirastatra namuyati, that a dhira person is not bewildered by such a change. So basically what he's trying to say, oh Devaki, don't worry, be dhira, right? This, after all, this body is sure to die. Body is never born, or it's dead only. So it's going to die. And the soul is eternal. That's a fundamental principle of Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna explains in multiple verses in chapter 2. That body is never born and soul is ever born, or eternal, in short. The soul never dies and the body is. So don't be too attached, in short, my dear sister. Don't lament so much. After all, who am I to kill, right? But Prabhupada mentions this example of a saintly person who's always engaged, is free from birth, old age, disease, death. Well, someone will say, well, that person died, he was a nice devotee, or, so that's just the external so-called death of the body. But eternally, that person goes back home, back to Godhead. So in short, that person is free from the cycle of birth and death. That person does not take birth again. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. There is no more repeated birth and death. Krishna also mentions this in 4.9. Janma karma chame devyam evam yo viti tat tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naeti mameti swarjana. So punarjanma will not happen. Rebirth will not happen to a person who understands this constitutional position. Who am I? What is body? What is my relationship? What is the process of bhakti? Understanding the Krishna's name, form, activities, etc. Yatur bhakti radhokshaji, continuously without cessation and unalloyed rendering the process of bhakti, the real dharma, that person is jivan mukta sauchate. Even while in this world, he or she is liberated. What to speak of going to the spiritual world? This is Krishna consciousness, jivan mukta sauchate. This is the movement which we are trying to be in. So, any more thoughts, comments anyone has in this text?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, Dhanu Pranam. So the last line, that after the diligence of an acharya, his body is never burned to ashes. So my question is, like, Prabhuji, whether it's burned or it is buried, ultimately turn over to Panchabhut, right? Then what makes it difference then?
Yeah, basically the point is that their body is also considered spiritual, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here, that their body is not just, they're not just ordinary human beings, right? They're not just ordinary, human beings. And so in ordinary human beings, their body is, a lot of the process is done, like giving fire, etc., etc. And then the point is that that place where their body is buried, that place becomes samadhi. So there are different types of samadhis, like pushpa samadhi, and etc. So that place, even because of their body is present there, right? That place is full of spiritual energy. Like in Vrindavan, when we go, there are so many samadhis of great acharyas. There's a special temple called Chausat Samadhi Mandir, where there are samadhis of many acharyas. In the Radha Damodar temple, there is samadhi of so many acharyas. So wherever they are doing bhajan or bhajan sthali, and wherever their samadhi is, or for that matter, any place where they have touched their lotus feet is actually a holy place. What to speak of where they did bhajan and where their bodies are. So therefore, it's not an ordinary thing. So it's very, because of their purity, because of their sincerity, because of their devotion, their unalloyed Krishna consciousness. They are not just ordinary people.
Nice. Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Can I read, Guru?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Text 21. Tasmad bhadre swatanayan maya vyapaditanapi manushocha yata sarva swakrutam vindate vashaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear sister Devaki, all good fortune unto you. Everyone suffers and enjoys the results of his own work under the control of providence. Therefore, although your sons have unfortunately been killed by me, please do not lament for them. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Yastva Indra Gopam Athavendram Aho Swakarma Bandhanurupa Phala Bhajanam Atanoti Karmani Nirdahati Kintu Cha Bhakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Everyone, beginning from the small insect known as Indragopa up to Indra, the king of the heavenly planets, is obliged to undergo the results of his fruitive activities. We may superficially see that one is suffering or enjoying because of some external causes, but the real cause is one's own fruitive activities. Even when someone kills someone else, it is to be understood that the person who was killed met the fruitive results of his own work, and that man who killed him acted as an agent of material nature. Thus, Kamsa begged Devaki's pardon by analyzing the matter deeply. He was not the cause of death of Devaki's sons. Rather, this was their own destiny. Under the circumstances, Devaki should excuse Kamsa and forget his past deeds without lamentation. Kamsa admitted his own fault, but whatever he had done was under the control of providence. Kamsa might have been the immediate cause for the death of Devaki's sons, but the remote cause was their past deeds. This was an actual fact. So we know that it was Kalanemi, there were 6 sons of Marichi, I believe. That and there is a backstory that we read about these 6 sons. So that is a fact that there is some remote cause for their past deeds. But here, Kamsa is again explaining that it's the providence, it's not me. It's not me, it's the destiny. So please do not lament and forget. Prabhupada is saying, so Kamsa is saying this philosophy, please do not lament. And Prabhupada adds in the purport, although it is Kamsa admitted his own fault, but it was under the control of providence, and she should forgive him. She should not hold grudge against him because of his past deeds. So we see, justification we also see, not much remorse we see, and, just let's move on is the tendency here. That's all, Prabhu, I can say. Please add Hare Kṛṣṇa, then Pranam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Philosophy in the hands of wrong people can be thoroughly misused. And that's what, because Kamsa is practically the king, learned king, but not really learned. Yes, he has theoretical knowledge. Ravana was also very learned, but they did not use the learning for a good cause. But when it comes to defending their own position, wow, this verse is absolutely correct. That yes, we cannot blame the instrument of our own karma, as Prabhupada says multiple times. For example, in typical, Indian, like for example, a post USPS or post office or the Dakia, the postman that brings a news that your relative passed away. Oh, bad news. But is the postman to be blamed? No. Or sometimes it may be a good news. The postman brings a news, oh, you got a new job. The postman is not to be blamed. The postman is just the messenger or the instrument of our own karma. So Prabhupada is mentioning about the three causes. One is the immediate cause for any action. One is the remote cause. And there's one, the ultimate cause. And we discussed this in Bhagavad Gita also. Immediate cause here is Kamsa, who killed. Remote cause is their past activities, which is very intricate, Ghana, Karmana, Gati. And the ultimate cause is, of course, the providence, and the providence works under the direction of the Supreme Lord. But we cannot use this. For example, a murderer kills someone, and then the court says or tells and tries to pacify, hey, I killed your relative, but actually I'm not the real cause. Actually, that person, your brother or father or whatever whom I killed, was supposed to be killed because of their karma. And anyways, body is dead only. So please don't take it so seriously. And please forgive me. That's it. Do not lament so much. I'm sorry, it's unfortunate that somehow they were killed, because he's in the position of, he's a king. I mean, he's the controller, he's the judge. He's learned giving this philosophy, but he's not really repentant. Because if we would have been really repentant, we discussed the 6 R's of correction. Right? First one does reflection. Then one does, after reflection, one realizes. Self-reflection leads to realization of one's mistake. Then the third R is repentant about it. That one realizes, I did a really bad thing, which I was not supposed to do. After being repentant or remorseful. But that's not sufficient until one does rectification. Right? That's the 4th R of rectification. How do we fix it? What can we do to, we can't maybe go back and turn things, but at least what can we do now to fix it? And then we should always remember the mistakes we did. So honest people make mistakes, but they follow the 6R series so that they remember and not repeat. Repeat not. These are the 6 R's, very, very important. But yes, Kamsa, externally, maybe he may be apologetic, but in short, he's telling that, after all, don't blame the instrument of your own karma, or don't blame me who just happened to be an instrument. After all, I'm not the real doer. So it's as good as in this day and age. I was watching a video by Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. There's a movie going on, Kashmir Files. I don't know. I have not seen the movie, but I saw some devotees who gave some purports to that, mentioning that yes, tolerance is one thing, but those people cannot say, oh well, after all, let's say a lot of people were killed in that, a lot of bad things happened to them. They cannot, then the people who caused that harm cannot say, well, we were just the instrument of the harm, so don't blame us. So tolerance of the bad will only make the bad more kind of that they're free. Yeah? Like if a murderer is not punished, right, by the court or by the law, what will the murderer rectify? No, the murderer has to be punished, right? So tolerating the bad is, or being intolerant to the bad will only cause more havoc to society. Right? So that was the point. Like same, even in this war situation, right? So a lot of justification may be given by so-called, people of heads of the countries that, oh, we are having this war to free them and whatnot. So one justification, but basically like Kamsa mentality that I'm not the really bad guy. It's I'm trying to help you. Don't take it seriously. So this is what happens when philosophy is wrongly used with wrong intentions to justify one's own shortcomings or mistakes. So that should never be done. Honest people, humble people never do that. Rather, they are sincerely working to fix what they did wrong rather than trying to justify. Because justification will only stop our own, will be a roadblock to our own improvement. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Any other thoughts anyone has? Okay, let's read the next one. 22. Yes, Shishilpa, did you had some thoughts or?
I was just trying to add something. I think you said it very good, explained it very good. Thank you, Prabhuji. I was just trying to add. I think justification has to be done, but in a good way, right? Even there, we have two options. Which way to choose, right? We shouldn't be again going through the same path on what the others did, unless we have that authority to do. Like army, right? If they are in a war, protecting our country, and then they have to react, right? Because it's their authority, maybe the position that they are in. But a common man cannot go, and then in order to justify, he cannot go. He doesn't have that authority, right? So in his he needs to follow his dharma, I think, whichever is available to him, and then do the justification. It's justification in both the cases, but the way we choose to justify, I think that matters too, in order not to get again attached for the next life. Just wanted to add.
Thank you for your comment. Very nice. Okay, to read 22.
I'll try, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yavadato smihantasmi hantasmithya atmanam manyate swadrakvat tad abhimanye tad abhimanyai ajno badhya badhakatam ityat. Sorry, Prabhu. Translation by His Divine Grace, Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. In the bodily conception of fire, one remains in darkness without self-realization, thinking I am being killed or I have killed my enemies. As long as a foolish person thus considers the self to be the killer or the killed, he continues to be responsible for material obligations, and consequently he suffers the reactions of happiness and distress. Purport: by the grace of Lord, Kamsa felt sincere regret for having unnecessarily persecuted such Vaishnavas and Devaki and Vasudeva, and thus he came to the transcendental stage of knowledge. Because I'm situated on the platform of knowledge, Kamsa said, understanding that I'm not at the killer of your sons, I have no responsibility for their death. As long as I thought that I would be killed by your son, I was in ignorance. But now I'm free from this ignorance, which was due to the bodily conception of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.17, Yasya nahantro bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatva pisa imalokan na hantina nibadhyate. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose ignorance is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, is not the slayer, nor is he bound by his actions. According to this axiomatic truth, Kamsa pleaded that he was not responsible for having killed the sons of Devaki and Vasudeva. Please try to excuse me for such false external activities, he said, and he pacified with this same knowledge. Prabhuji, you would better explain, but just two statements to what I understood. So he's still backing of Kamsa is still defending himself. Maybe I think with I don't know which way to think. Maybe he's defending with the knowledge back to him, with the Maya going off, or with the Maya still, he's still with that pride that he's a king, but he's not responsible for killing because he has that knowledge from Vedas, that this body is not, he did not kill the body, rather because of his karma, God made him to kill, and he's not supposed to get any bad karma because of what he did. So back to you, Prabhu. Please correct that.
Thank you so much for your wonderful reading and sharing your thoughts. In the Bhagavad Gita also, there's a very beautiful verse in a similar connection in 2.19. Va enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Neither who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it's slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. A little complex to understand, right? But the point is that one who is in knowledge, the same point which Kamsa is telling. One who is in knowledge does not think that the living entity is the slayer, right? Or if I put my Gita 2.19, slain and slayer is mentioned. So Arjuna does not want to slay others, right? Or kill others. That was the point. Arjuna didn't want to kill others. So basically Krishna is giving knowledge of and Krishna is destroying his ignorance by giving the knowledge of the slayer and the slain. That you are not the slayer of Arjuna if you're acting on the self-realized platform, as Prabhupada is also mentioning here. One who is not motivated by false ego, and one whose intelligence is not entangled. That does not refer to terrorists and fanatic people, and Kamsa was also very demoniac. What was his motivation to act, to kill all the children? Because he was in ignorance, thinking that this person is going to kill me in future. This is going to harm me. Devaki will be a cause of my destruction, and his child will be a cause of my destruction. So he was not acting on the philosophy he was speaking. Speaking big words is very easy. Quoting shlokas is very easy, what Kamsa is doing. But he was not acting on that platform, right? And now also he is, rather than genuinely humble and apologetic, he's basically telling, oh, no, it's not actually me. After all, I'm not the slayer. After all, it was their past anyways. After all, who can kill the soul? No one. He suffers their own. I am being killed, or I have killed my enemies. This is ignorance, right? Or without self-realization, or basically in the bodily conception, or in ignorance platform. One is in darkness or ignorance. So demoniac mentality means not living by philosophy, rather using philosophy to justify one's demoniac actions or bad actions. Genuine souls, it does not matter how many verses we know of Bhagavad Gita, but it does matter how many verses we are sincerely trying to follow in our lives, right? That's the main criteria, not by learning the verses, but by trying to live by the verses. That's the main thing. So, any other thoughts anyone has in this? Okay, let's read the next verse. Who has not read in the last couple of days? Or anyone? Akshay, go, please.
Text 23. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam mama dauratmyam sarhabodina vatsala itya uktavashlu mukapadau shala swasor atagrahit. Translation. Kamsa begged, my dear sister and brother-in-law, please be merciful to such a poor-hearted person as me. Since both of you are saintly persons, please excuse my atrocities. Having said this, Kamsa fell at the feet of Vasudeva and Devaki, his eyes full of tears and regret. Purport. Although Kamsa had spoken very nicely on the subject of real knowledge, his past deeds were abominable and atrocious. And therefore he further begged forgiveness from his sister and brother-in-law by falling at the feet and admitting that he was a most sinful person. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you, Prabhu. What did you learn from this verse?
And in this verse, like Kamsa is saying, it's like telling Vasudeva and Devaki that he's like explaining more and like trying to like really tell them that it isn't actually him, but like it isn't actually him, but like it isn't actually him who's like, he's just like the instrument of saying, like who's trying to like kill their sons.
Thank you, Prabhu. Let's read this one more time, okay? And you read after me, okay? Shamadvam mama dor atmyam. Your turn.
Shamadvam mama dauratnyam
Sadhavo dina vatsalaha.
Sadhavo dina vatsala
Iti uktva shrumukha padau.
iti uktva sharu mukha padau
Shala swasror athagrahit.
shala swashro atagrahit.
Very good. A very nice quality is coming. Sadhavo dina vatsalaha. Sadhus are dina vatsalaha. Dina means poor, not technically poor, not by money, but who are like fallen. The sadhus are very, very kind or compassionate. This is a quality of Krishna and the pure devotees also. That they cannot see the suffering of others. They are dina vatsala, they are bhakta vatsala, they are suhridam sarva bhutanam. They cannot see other people in suffering. Now Kamsa is saying that you are dina vatsala, I am very, very fallen. You are dina vatsala, you are the one. Vatsa means calf, right? How the mother cows take good care of the calf. Krishna is called bhakta vatsala. Sadhus are called dina vatsala. That now I am very, very dina, right? Please forgive me. And beautiful, generally, Ashru is connected to eyes, right? Ashru is not connected to mukha, isn't it? But here Ashru is connected to iti uktva. After speaking this, Ashru mukha. That means the whole face was covered with Ashru or tears. His face was full of tears. That means so much Ashru he had shed. His face was, his full mukha was full of tears. And then he fell at the lotus feet. Padau, Shala. In Hindi also, because Sala is coming from the same word, Shala. So, Swasrur, sister and brother-in-law. He fell at his feet. The face is covered with tears. He's glorifying the devotees who are dina vatsalaha. Shamadvam. Shama, right? It's another great quality of devotees, that they are very, very forgiving, right? Forgiveness is a jewel of a Vaishnava. To be forgiving, to be kind and compassionate, to be empathetic, and we see that in so many. This quality is very common in all the Vaishnavas. Prahlad Maharaj, when Nrsimhadev asked, "What do you want for your He said, forgive my father. Although he had been very kind and unkind and ruthless, right? Asked for forgiveness. Mata Draupadi, when Ashwatthama was brought, forgive him. Because the mother Kripi has already lost her husband. I don't want her to be in the same shoes as me because I know the pain of losing the 5 children. So sadhus are dinavatsalas, are compassionate, kind. So Kamsa is basically regretting and admitting his fault, that he was quite sinful. Let's see what happens further. The last verse for today. Anyone wants to say this verse?
I can read Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dhanu Pranam, all goes to Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 24. Machayam asho nigodad vishobdha kannaka gira devakim vasudevam cha darshana atma shouridam. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada Joy. Fully believing in the words of goddess Durga, Kamsa exhibited his familial affection for Devaki and Vasudev by immediately freeing them from their iron shackles. As goddess Durga said that the person who is the god, or the way she was telling him that the Supreme God already born in other place, so he knows that there is no point of keeping them shackles anymore. And he's as Prabhupada mentioned in the previous verses, that people like Kamsa's attitude always have great faith in Durga. So that's why he's surrendering to them and expecting forgiveness from them. Back to Guruji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, you're right. As in the previous verses, Prabhupada does mention this, that demoniac people like Kamsa are the worshippers of Durga. They do not worship Krishna. They believe in Durga, not knowing that Durga is the energy of Krishna. So when Durga was born from Devaki, then Kamsa thought, oh, she must be something really great. And I put her in the shackles. Now now she'll be offended with me. Now I did a mistake. So now basically he is releasing Mochaya, he's releasing them from the iron shackles. Right? And displaying his Atma Suhridam again. He forgot the Atma Suhrid while making multiple attempts to kill her and the children, but now he has a change of heart. So, flickering nature. The mining souls have a flickering nature again and again. The family was a family like 2 years back also, and 5 years back also, but now again it keeps changing and oscillating like a pendulum. First trying to kill, then releases, then okay, no, oh, you're so kind, take your child away. Then again he tries to kill. So this is Kamsa. So any thoughts, comments, questions before we pause for today? Anyone has?
Prabhuji, I was thinking Kamsa is a great devotee of goddess Durga, right? So as Prabhuji mentioned, so in that way goddess Durga showed her appearance, for devotees when they pray God, that is with bhakti, right, that they are praying. So goddess Durga's appearance to come, it should be kind of a beautiful moment, right? He should be happy, but unfortunately because of the act that he did, it's the other way around, right? She appeared, but she appeared to say that Krishna is somewhere else, and he will act upon. So yeah, just was just thinking bhakti does a lot.
Yeah, you made a very valid point. That's the main difference difference between worshipping demigods, whether Durga or etc., and worshipping Krishna. This comes in the story of Jad Bharat also, in the canto 4th, I think. I don't remember the canto, but the point is, it comes in. So Jad Bharat was a great devotee of Krishna, but and he was in his own world, kind of acting like a madman, but internally self-realized. And then later, some people were trying to, he was like a scarecrow. Some people were trying to offer him to Durga as an Narabali, as an offering to Durga. And Durga came and killed the people who were trying to offer Jad Bharat to her. Yes, so she gave them the darshan, but she killed them, the very worshippers. So why? Because they were trying to harm a devotee of Krishna. So bhakti is only reserved for Krishna. So bhakti is, the word bhakti is not even used, what to speak of for the demigods. So bhakti is only for Krishna. Bhakti, Bhagavan, Bhakta. It's an important point. And you rightly mentioned, whether Durga or Lord Shiva or others, etc., they are more happy when one becomes a devotee of Krishna. They are supremely happy. So even to the extent, like Krishna says, I will protect my devotees, right? Nami Bhakta Pranashyati. But here Durga killed her own devotees. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting. Right? Because they were trying to harm a devotee of Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Very nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
And Prabhuji, as Mataji was saying about Devi Durga, when Kamsa, so I heard from senior devotees lecture that Yogamaya, when he was, Devi Durga, when she was in Gokul, Vrindavan, that time she was Yogamaya. But when she came to Kamsa, that time he became Mahamaya. So Yogamaya means towards bhakti to Krishna, and Mahamaya means which can take away from Krishna. So Kamsa is seeing Durga as Mahamaya. So Durga becomes Mahamaya in front of Kamsa. And Yogamaya, when she was in the Gokul, that time she was Yogamaya. Back to Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I guess we'll pause here. Thank you for your wonderful participation and wonderful comments and discussion. We'll continue tomorrow with the next verse. Ventraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.